Okay, Year 7 and 8, this is the second video to help you complete your bag. So far I've shown you on a video how to sew this section together, okay, the front panel of the pocket. So the next step, once your zipper is in and it looks like this, is to actually trace this out onto another bit of calico. Now the quickest way to do this is to simply mark in the corner like a little L, okay? There, so that's around the corner, around the next corner. Okay, make sure it's all flat. Next corner. And the next corner, and I've ended up right on the edge. Okay. Then you can use your straight edge of the rule to draw your lines in. Now if you take your time and focus, this doesn't take long at all. Okay, line him up. Draw him on. Okay, and now you just need to cut that out. So retract the blade, roll up the excess. Keep the workspace clean and tidy. And what we want to do now is put the front of your pocket on top of the back. Line them all up. Okay. The better you do this, the easier it is to sew. And you want to move the actual zipper inside the line of the bag, about there. About 2 centimeters in. Okay, really important that you move that in. I'll grab some pins. Okay, and I'll face it this way so it's easier for you to follow. So when I sew this on the machine, I'm going to start sewing from here, so that's where I'm going to start pinning from, with the head of the pin facing me. Okay, I'm going to work my way around. Okay, that is the pocket with all the pins all the way around, and remember the head of the zipper needs to be within the line of the bag. Okay, we will pause there. I'll go and thread a sewing machine and show you how to sew this up. Okay, so I've threaded a machine. I've got my sewing over here ready to go. I want to start at this corner. Now you need to know where to start. So yes, we're going to be coming down this edge and around the whole rectangle, but how far in? Well, there's this guide plate on the machine and it's got a series of lines on it that you can run. You use it as a guide to run your material up to keep straight. They're measured here in millimeters. There's one there with a 10 on it, and that's the line we want to use, okay? So the edge of our material should be on that line, okay? I'm going to start right in the corner there, hold my threads out the back as I start, I'm going to go forward a bit, about 1 centimetre, and then reverse, and then go, okay? And I need to keep it in line with that 10mm line. It's really important. Okay, get my pedal comfortable. I'm on A, stitch length of about 3.5. Turn him on. I'm ready to go. Okay, hold this down to reverse. Okay, I'm good to go. Take out the pins as you go. Put them straight on your magnetic tray, which should be in between each machine. Okay. Keep an eye on that 10 line, that is all you are watching. And as you get to a pin, stop, take it out, keep going. Now the only tricky part in this step is when you get to the zipper. When you get to the zipper, stop, and you want to wind the handle towards you so you are actually sewing by hand. Now the reason we do that, if you go too fast and the tip of the needle hits the actual teeth of the zipper, it can snap the needle, which is quite dangerous because you don't know where it's going to go. Okay, so wind over it. Once you're off the zipper, you can go back to using your pedal with your foot. Okay, so I'm off it, keep going, keep an eye on my 10 line, take the pin out, away we go. Now, when you get down to the corner, you need to stop 10 in from this end so that you can turn the corner and be on the right spot. I'm going to wind him so the needle's in the material. I think one more. There we go. Lift him up. Carefully turn 90 degrees. Oops, sorry, knocked the camera. Put him back down, and I nailed it. Okay. I've still got the edge of my material on the 10 line. Away I go. And pay careful attention to the way I'm holding the material. So I've got one hand out the back, my left hand, my right hand down here helps to steer. Okay? Keep on that 10 line. Okay. Just to the zipper again. Okay, I'm going to hand wind over him again. Okay, I'm off there. Okay, almost at the end. Remember, whenever we start, whenever we finish, we reverse. So I'm going to go past that stitch and reverse. Okay, I'm going to wind my needle up, lift that up, 2 finger pinch to pull it out, trim off your threads. And just make sure the threads both out the back nice and tidy. Okay, so just push that back for a second. What you've got here is your completed pocket. Okay, your zipper will stop at that thread if you're careful and go all the way to the end. So what's outside the line of the bag now, just here, we can cut off neatly with a pair of scissors. Okay, and that part goes in the bin. All right, the next step, we need to go back and cut 3 more things. So we need to cut another rectangle that exact same size again, and 2 small squares. Now, if you've done your 10mm seam allowance really well, you can cut 2 squares which are 3 inches by 3 inches. If you've accidentally come in too far, what I would recommend is cutting 2 squares that are 5 inches by 5 inches. Okay, let's go and do that. Okay, so I've laid it out of my calico again. so there's minimal wastage. Okay, I'll draw my corners on, making sure it's all flat. I can remove that, draw my lines on. That's the first rectangle. And then I said we needed to cut 2 squares that were either 3 by 3 inches, if you'd done really well with your 10mm seam allowance, or 5 by 5 inches. So I'm going to do 3 by 3 because mine turned out pretty good. Just cut that excess off. That'll be scrap that'll go in the bin later. And I'll mark up my 3 by 3. Now on your ruler here, you've got your measurements along here, 3 inches by 3 inches. So I can mark that up fairly easily. So I could just start at 3, work back to 0, and then across to 3. Okay? Then I can just roll that out a bit so my rule fits. I can line up the end of the line of each one on the 3 mark. And draw the other. I end up with my 3 by 3 square. I'm going to do another one right next to it so it shares a line. So I'll go across to 3. I'm just going to extend this one out to the 6. And then I can rule those up. Okay, and that should end up at 3 by 3. Okay, so I've got my 2 squares there. Okay, we're going to cut those out. So we're just concerned about these 2 little squares now. We have to do some marking and measuring on there. So what we're going to do, we're going to end up drawing 3 lines that run one right down the centre. Okay, which will make 2 equal rectangles, and then on this rectangle we'll find halfway, top and bottom, and then use that as a fold line to go into the centre. Okay, now half of 3 is 1.5, so I'm going to use the rule, put a mark at 1.5, nice and clear, top and bottom. And I'm going to draw a line across that, and then I'll hold it up and show you. Okay, so I've split that in half, 1.5 inches, 1.5 inches, same on the bottom, so that's nice and straight. Now, I'm going to fold that back to that line. I'm just going to crease it with my fingers. And then when it opens up, you can see the fold lines. I'm just going to put a little pen line there, like that. Hopefully you can see that. So there's a little pen mark here, and there's a little pen mark here, just to indicate our fold line. Okay, I'm going to do the same on the other side. I'm going to fold him back onto the centre line. Nice and accurately. Press as best you can. Okay, and they will sit like that. I'm going to do the same to the other one. Okay guys, you can see I've relocated over to the ironing board, and first up, I just want to tell you this change of periods that might get a little bit noisy in the background. So I've got my 2 squares that I've folded into my centre line. I've turned the iron on, and whenever you're using the iron, it needs to be standing up, because if you put it down and leave it like that, potentially you are creating a fire hazard. Okay, now we're just going to use the sewing machine to press these flat. Okay, do not burn your fingers, move your hand out of the way, moving backwards and forwards, and they will fold nice and flat like so. Okay, not popping up at all. And we're going to do the second one. Okay, so make sure he is folded on nice and accurately on that center line. Then use the iron to press him flat. Okay, move your hand out of the way. Nice and flat. Almost done. There's one more fold to do. So now you've got this really long rectangle. Okay, we're going to fold him in half this way. Okay, so again, you've got that, I guess that open center line there facing you. We want to fold it so all the open bits are on the inside. Okay, press him just with your fingers at first, then press it with the iron. Okay, that's one done. Next one. Okay guys, this is probably another important step. I've got all my pieces cut out here, so you can see I've got my pocket, the backing piece I cut before, and I've also got, hopefully you can see, my two little rectangles that I'd folded and pressed with the iron. Okay, so what are we doing? The back piece stays as is. Okay, now these little folded bits we place here, and we want to put these about 40 mil up from the bottom of the corner. So I'm going to get a ruler and place them. Oh, that was pretty close. I'm just going to put a really tiny pen mark at 40 millimeters, which is 4 centimeters, on both sides from the bottom corner. Okay, 4 centimeters, 40 millimeters, the same thing. And they go there. Now, it's really, really, really important that they don't move, and it's actually the open edge that is on the edge, okay? Where I'm tapping, this is the fold, okay? The open edge goes along the edge, and that's for both of them. So over on this side, I've got the folded edge here, the open edge is here, okay? Now I need to flip over my bag pocket so that the zipper is facing down, and I need to align that perfectly without those moving. So I'm going to carefully align the top, and then I'm going to pull the bottom down nice and carefully and sit him on top, and they shouldn't have moved. Okay, you can always readjust because you've got a pen mark there, but just be careful. Okay, now I'm going to put a pin through those straight away to hold them in place. It'll be hard because you're really going through 4 bits of fabric. Okay, and this time now I'm going to pin the rest of my bag from here in a U shape, down to the corner, across the bottom and up to the top. I am not putting anything in the top because that's got to remain open so we can actually get into our bag, okay? So I'll go ahead and pin my bag. I'm going to be starting here, down here, across here, up here, okay? And the head of your zipper should be in the middle, okay? I can feel it right there. It's right out of the way of where I'm going to be sewing. Okay, I'm going to take you back to the sewing machine and show you where to stitch this and what our seam allowance will be in from the edge this time. Okay guys, so we're back at the sewing machine. Last time we did a seam allowance of 10 millimeters. We need to come out to either the 15 or the 20. If you did really well with your 10 last time, go to 15. Cool. If you wandered in too far last time and you chose to do the 5 by 5 inch squares, you can go out to the 20. Okay, but try and stick to the line that you know is right for you. So I did the 3 by 3 squares because my 10 mil seam allowance is good. So I can use that 15 mil seam allowance line. So I'm going right up the top this time. I'm on my 15 mil. I might actually come across to 20. Okay, just inside 20. Go forward a bit more. And I'm right to go, okay? Now whenever, I'm gonna hold the threads out the back to start like always, just so they don't get sucked back in. Reverse. And we're good to go, okay? Now as you get to the zipper, you're going to stop again. And you can see through your calico to see where your zipper is, or you might even see a bit of it sticking out the side. Now, wind by hand over your zipper. Okay, keep your bag going straight for your seam allowance. Keep winding, keep winding, keep winding. This next bit's tricky. You're actually going to reverse over it as well. Okay, but by hand still. So hold the reverse button down. It'll feed back through. This is just to really reinforce it. Okay, I'm past the actual zipper part and I can go forward again by hand. Okay, keep winding the handle towards you. Okay, I'm past my zipper, I can go back to using my foot on the pedal. Now the next thing I'm going to stop at is my little rectangular tab, which is down here, okay? Okay, I can feel it, I can feel the big lump there, so I'm going to go really slow over it because there's extra fabrics for the needle to go through. And I'm going to reverse over that as well. I'm really reinforcing that. Okay, needles in, lift him up, turn. I've got to pull that pin out, this is in the way. Right along the bottom of your bag. Okay, and you want to stop 20 mil in from the edge, needle down, lift him up, turn, and remember that little 3 by 3 square is here. So I'm going to go nice and slow over him and reverse. Okay, so I'm just going to go over the card. I'm going to reverse to reinforce it. Okay, then forward again over it. And I can go right to the end now. Well, not quite to the end, I've got to stop at the zipper and do that by hand. I'm just going to pull that pin out, it's going to get in the way. Okay, I can see I'm at my zipper, so I'm going to go by hand. Wind the wheel towards you. Okay, you will be able to feel when it's past the zipper. Okay, now I'm going to reverse, still by hand, hold the reverse button down and still turn the wheel towards you. We're almost almost done, guys. Okay, I can go forward again by hand. Once you're over the actual zipper part, you can use your foot on the pedal again. To the end and reverse. Okay, wind the needle up, you can take him out, 2-finger pinch, cut your threads off. I'm just going to go around and take all those pins out, put them in my magnetic tray. So here's the end I left open. Go and grab the pocket, well not the pocket, sorry, the bottom corner of your pocket. Okay, pull it through. Alright. Square out all your corners, like poke it out. Okay, really try and get into that corner. And there we have it, 90% of our bag finished. Okay, so you can see that my little tabs are sticking out the same distance because I was really accurate with measurements. They're up from the corner the same measurement, and because I was good with my seam allowances, it's big enough there to fit a drawstring through. Cool. The next video is going to show you how to make the drawstring pocket for the top, how to put that in, and how to put the actual drawstring in top and bottom to turn this into a backpack. Okay, thanks for watching, guys.